Hello, my name is Alexandra. And today, before I begin, I wanted to ask everyone a question. How many people in this room are completely fluent in sign language? Okay, then I want you to imagine that you are. But also, imagine that you cannot hear my voice, that you can only see that my lips are moving. Imagine that the soft hum of the refrigerator is gone. Imagine that your shoes don't click on the sidewalk anymore, that the rain pouring down outside makes no sound. Imagine that your life, your whole world, is completely silent, that you are trapped inside of this muted bubble. Outside of your bubble, the world is this constant blur of activity and sound. People are walking past, talking on their cell phones or to each other. Cars trapped in rush hour traffic are honking pointlessly. Air conditioners are whirring and rattling in almost every single building that you pass, and music is blaring from the headphones of those who walk alone. You can see all of this noisy chaos, but you are set apart from it. This is how many deaf and hearing impaired individuals feel every day of their lives. They feel secluded from the world around them, starting at a very young age, and often only feel comfortable when among others in the deaf community. But this does not have to be the case. Today, you will see that learning sign language is beneficial for both deaf and hearing impaired individuals as well as hearing individuals. That sign language is a second language that should be used in the school curriculum to help end the feelings of isolation. According to multiple experts, such as Jenny Caro, a researcher and specializes with the deaf community, babies as young as 6 months old can remember a sign. By 8 months old, they can begin to form their own. And by 2 years of age, they can sign full, complex sentences. Sign language is a way for parents to bond with their children. It helps hasten speech development, which allows for children to communicate when they are in pain or are hungry. A study by the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development found that young children who learn sign language often speak sooner than other children. Despite these advantages, children who are reliant on sign language often feel isolated from others. I asked you earlier to imagine your life as if you were deaf. Now I'd like you to imagine your life as if you're a new parent. You or your partner just gave birth to a beautiful child. They're completely perfect in every way. And then the doctor comes in and says these words: "Your child has failed the hearing test." Your baby has never spoken a word, never taken a step, and they've already failed a test that will affect the rest of their lives. You have no idea what to do. Like most parents face with a challenge, though, you do your best to adapt and to give your child a good life. But when it's almost time for them to start school, you find out that the deaf school nearby is closing. With the resources that you have available, you have one of two options. You can stay in your town with job security and a good home, but your child will have to be followed around everywhere by a translator. Or you can move hours away with no job security and no guarantee of a good home, but your child will have independence. Why are these your only two options? Because most schools will not teach sign language as a second language. Experts like Susan Glarin point out that sign language has its own grammar structure and processes that even English lacks. Languages taught in schools include studying vocabulary, culture, values, all of which sign language and the deaf community have their own unique versions of, which begs the question, why is it not included in schools? Many organizations have been formed in an effort to put sign language in schools. Voices like Amber Feltler, the child of a deaf community, former ASL interpreter at schools, and current full-time staff interpreter in Worthington, Ohio, advocates for putting sign language in more schools. She said in an interview, "I feel like the world I live in is unique, and not a lot of people get it." Jade Chapman is another who promotes this inclusive movement. She created Let Signs Shine in 2014 to make ASL a part of schools so that the feelings of isolation among sign language users will decrease. Her aim is to get enough signatures on her petition to have this movement talked about in government. Earlier, I asked you to imagine what your life would be like if you were deaf. And then I asked you to imagine your life as if you were the parent to a deaf child. Now I would like to take a step back. I would like you to imagine once more that you are deaf. But this time, everywhere you go, people will understand you. They will accept you. You will not be treated differently for your limitation, and you will no longer be set apart from the world around you. To make this hypothetical situation a reality, everyone in this room can do one simple thing to make this movement successful. Go online and sign the petition on letsignsshine.com to help put sign language in schools. If we all do this, maybe someday soon, deaf and hearing impaired individuals will know that they are not seen as a person who is trapped inside of a muted bubble, set apart from the world that we know. Maybe someday soon, when I ask if anyone knows sign language, the answer will be a resounding yes. Thank you.